2 feet long. And that one worked fine on that truck, but I made it work on this pickup. But the problem that truck always had when you're driving down the highway at like 65, it sounded like an airplane. It says, whoa. You just kept hearing that reverberation sound, and it got really annoying after a while. It was just like, oh, it's like when you're on a lawnmower, it's just that constant when you're going. It's typical 4-cylinder noise. This truck has a 2.3 carbureted motor in it, if I haven't mentioned that already. But anyway, so I went with two, and they're short. They're probably, I don't know, maybe a foot long each, if that. I put two of those on there. I think one's longer than the other. I forget. But anyway, I put two of them on there, and the reason I did that, and it was a guess, but it actually ended up working. I got rid of the drone, just go whoa. Now it's just whoa, like a normal engine should be. So I got rid of that weird drone, and I think a lot of that had to do with the way I had it the way I had it routed. If it would have had the regular exhaust on it, it would have been longer, and you wouldn't have got that drone. But I was just trying to make it a little more customized, I guess. And the hard part is if some of you people probably noticed when I cut the end of the exhaust, it's not perfectly straight. It kind of got a little wonky. Well, if you ever tried to cut an exhaust that's at an angle, it's actually pretty hard to do. I thought it was going to be a lot easier than that because I tried to use tape and stuff to wrap it, but you're trying to cut a straight piece of pipe at a 45-degree angle. It's really hard to do. Some people might, and the hardest part about that is I wanted the tip to be a certain way, and it's kind of hard to see it from here, but maybe this will do it some justice. I don't know. I'm just trying. If you can even pick it, it's hard to see the angle on this, honestly. But yeah, you can kind of see how it kicks out. I wanted it so it was trying to follow the body line. That's what I was trying to do. And anyway, like 45-degree angles would have been too much. And then you would have this weird long, like funky looking exhaust tube. I didn't want like a stinger sticking out the back of it. I wanted it to look like even. So that was kind of hard to do because I was basically guessing, and I'm not an exhaust person. Like, I've done exhaust. I used to work at an exhaust shop, but I don't have the tools to do that stuff anymore. So I'm doing this at home with an angle grinder. Anyway, so back to the truck. Like I said, I redid the interior. I put a sound system in it, and I say sound system. I know some of you people that are into like sound competitions and big stuff like that. No, this isn't that. This is we'll call it a high school kid sound system. It's got two 8-inch 1,000-watt subwoofers and a 1,000-watt amplifier in it. They're only 8-inch. They're Boss Audio stuff, so they're not real high end. But Boss Audio, I think, makes decent stuff. It also has, I'm trying to think, 8 speakers in it as well. They're I think 3.5-inch speakers. It has 2 in the doors, or 1 in each door. 2 in the dash, one on each side of the dash, and then it's got one of those, we'll call it J.C. Whitney era headliners in it that put the 4 up in the roof. So yes, it's a regular cab pickup, and it's got 8 speakers in it plus 2 subwoofers. But the letdown of the whole thing is, and actually that's all Boss Audio. I got the letdown of it is the head unit. The head unit is a cheapy Chinese thing, and you're wondering why don't you just get a Boss head unit? Well, the whole reason I did it is because I wanted it to match the rest of the truck. I was trying to go for an old school look. And I know a lot of you guys are saying, well, no, where's like companies like Retro Sound that makes that sort of stuff? Well, look at the prices and, go from there, and you can figure out why I didn't choose it. I know in the long run, yeah, I should have probably just bought it and would have been better off. But I wanted to have like Bluetooth and I guess it was cheap. Honestly, my main mindset at the time was I wanted something cheap and look kind of neat. It has a retro kind of look to it, which I don't know if we're gonna be able to see it or not in there. The shiny part in the dash there, that's the radio. It is kind of junky. It works, but the display's going dim on it, so you can't hardly see it. So I wouldn't really recommend it to anybody unless you're, on a budget like me. It's not that it doesn't work. It works perfectly fine. It's just you can't read the display when you're driving down the road, so you don't know what radio station it's on. Can't read the volume, none of that stuff. It's kind of stupid. But the main reason I bought it too is because it's real short. So on the Ranger pickups, you don't got a lot of room on the dash to put like a full size deck in it. I've done it in the past on the old ones, and it was always a real tight fit because all the wiring and stuff will be hitting the back of the dash. And just I don't know, I just never liked the way they fit. And you'd always have that adapter that would stick out of the dash. This one sits flush. It looks nice. Uh, about the only other thing that would be better if I could find an old like Ford OEM one and shove it in there. But I don't know if like that retro. I think it's Retro Sound or whatever that they actually make some for like F-150s and stuff. But I don't know if they ever made them for Rangers. Like, you can get like 80s F-150 radios and stuff, but they don't do 80s Ranger ones. Ranger radios are different from F-150s. In case you're wondering, they're slightly smaller, I believe. And this one doesn't have the knob style dash in it. It's newer than that. My 83 did have the knob style dash, so I had to take an angle grinder and cut it out, which that didn't look so good because, yeah, trying to cut through plastic with an angle grinder didn't work out so well. It looked like somebody took a hacksaw to it. But anyway, and not a good hacksaw either. It was overlapped, and I tried fixing it with a Sharpie and stuff. It looked kind of bad. But anyway, uh, just to tie up this truck, like I said, it's a show truck. That's what I use it for. Uh, it's not a truck you drive daily just because you can't go 70 miles an hour with it. You can, but you're flat out, and it's a struggle. Like I said, this was a high school truck, we'll call it for me, because I had 83 in high school, and I wanted another one since I wrecked that one. And this was kind of, I don't know, a dream truck, I guess you would call it. I know a lot of people don't understand why you'd want a Ranger as a dream truck, but it was just something I always wanted to build, and it was something I could afford at the time. And this was kind of hailing back to that time when trying to go with cheap and fixable, but I can do it on my own because I literally did everything on this truck myself except for the bodywork and paint. Metalwork and stuff, I did the interior because the floor rotted out real bad. Like I said, look on the other video. It'll show you all the bad stuff I found on it. Oh, well, I guess, unfortunately, the camera wasn't picking up stuff, unfortunately, in that video. There was a lot of rust. I could put my foot through the driver's side floor. That's how rotted out it was. And I wear size 13 shoes, so my foot would fit through the floor. Like, it was that bad. And the guy I bought it from, he had a big steel panel over the floor that he just screwed into the floor, which was... I don't know how he got it in there. I think he just used a sledgehammer and just beat the hell out of it until it fit. But anyway, I thought it was kind of funny. I was like, what in the world did you do, man? But anyway, yeah, so this truck, it has a little history on the show side of things. I've taken it to multiple car shows. I've been doing it since 2017, which I believe was the first year this truck was done. It didn't have the Little Bohemian on the side of it yet, but everything else had been done on it. Bed liner was in the truck. The wheels and tires are on the truck. And I just made it work the way it was, and did pretty good. Was always third or second in the class. And the class that it participates in, and I go to they call it the TUI Nationals Car Show. Like I said, I've been going there since 2017. I've been going to there before that, but this is the first year I started showing is when I got this truck done. And of course, I got that 2013 Dodge Challenger right around the same time. I got that in 2018, I'm going to say, so it came the next year. I think. I'm trying to remember. I was right. 2018, whatever. They were both there for the first time I had this truck there. The car was there as well. They got revealed or debuted, I guess you would say, at the same time. So anyway, they were always kind of side by side on when it came to the car show stuff. The car was kind of the fun, horsepower, kind of, muscle car sort of thing. And this was like the throwback, a resto mod, I guess you would call it. I don't know what you would call this truck. It's kind of its own thing. It's not a mini truck because it's not slammed. It doesn't have airbags or anything on that. I really don't want to do that. I like the look of mini trucks, but I would never want to own one. They're just super impractical to me. I need something that can drive over stuff. And go through a parking lot, go over a curb. I want something that you aren't going to worry about ripping a bumper off or, ripping the exhaust off or that sort of stuff or, dragging the oil pan on the ground. That's just not me. I'm not into that sort of thing. Like I said, I like the look, but I don't think I'd ever own one. But anyway, this truck, anyway, side by side with that Cavalier, with that Challenger, through basically every single year except for one when I'll show you that here in a second. When the car got hailed on really bad, unfortunately, and that's what led me to getting the shaker hood scoop for that car. But this truck eventually, this got really lucky one year. This participates in the 1988 to current truck class. So this is competing with everything, and I mean everything. You guys know that that's an extremely competitive class to be in. Now I know it's not a 70s truck class. That's a whole different. That's like 70 Chevys, 70s Fords, Dodges, not as much because Dodges didn't look quite as nice those years. The 80s Dodges, like if there was 80s Dodges, they'd probably be like more like 80s Fords. They had a similar look to them. But anyway, mine's in a weird class all on its own. It's because it's an 88, it's the first year, which is weird. It kind of sneaks in there. Plus it has the retro look, so it has its own kind of special flair to that class because you can't do that on any of the newer trucks. Once you go to the 91 Rangers, you can't put glass headlights in them. They're plastic. That's just how they are. So mine has like a special kind of niche that fits in that class, and it's a modified and stock class. Just in case you're wondering if I'm breaking the rules, no. And I know the people that put on the event, so they're all real cool about it. They don't give me any grief. And I said it's actually an 88. You can look on the registration; it says it on there. I'm not trying to scam you guys or anything like that. Trying to get a trophy, which eventually I did. I got first place in my class one year. Did not expect it at all. That was actually a year I spent a whole bunch of time on that Challenger because I was talking about that carport in either this video or the prior one because how long the video is going. That it had got mice and stuff in it. Well, it smelled terrible in there. I spent over $400 having the interior of that car cleaned out. It was ridiculous. Of course, I had them wash it too. And that car got, I don't know if that car even placed that year, which I was kind of disappointed. But this truck got first, and all I did was take it through the automatic car wash and vacuum the interior out. Barely did anything to it. And granted, I know the car's got a nice paint job on it too, and that was before it got hailed on or anything. So, and the car has gotten second in its class, which that's the car is actually, when I take it there, I forget what exactly years it's in. It's a 2013, so I think it's 2011 to current. I think that's what car class it's in. So it's if I can talk, competing with like Boss 302 Mustangs, Capo Camaros, like all the really big end stuff, Hellcat Challengers, Chargers, all those sorts of cars. And it's an American car class only. There's no imports or European stuff in the class, at least not at the one I go to. They have an import class there, which is different. But anyway, that car is in a very competitive class, and it has gotten second and it has gotten third, and it's also not placed too. But it just shows you that's a fair class. I'm not always just winning, and it's not they do a popular vote, so people go around and vote on cars if they want to. I personally don't. I know that might offend some people because it's like, well, they're voting for you. Why aren't you voting for them? It's just, I don't know. I just don't want to. I like looking at cars, but I don't feel like my opinion should be the reason their car wins or loses something. Because like my truck, for example, not everybody likes that. Some people think that green's ugly. They don't like the look of it. A lot of people say, why didn't you just put a V8 in there? And there's maybe plans of me doing that. I got a motor. It's actually the motor that came out of that Ford pickup. I hate and love that truck at the same time. I bought that truck in September of last year, and in February of this year, the motor started overheating. So ended up pulling the motor out of it. We don't know what happened to it. I couldn't drive it. It was so bad I couldn't drive it. Like I could drive it across the street from where I could drive it, we'll say 2 blocks, and it was just hot. I don't know what happened to it. And everybody's like, well, you blew a head gasket. Me and my older brother, who was a Ford mechanic, we're both very knowledgeable. He's probably a little bit more better with motors than I am. He's the one that does all the pulling truck stuff, so he knows about engines. I know some about motors. I'm not an expert, but I'm not an idiot either. I can figure stuff out. He pulled the heads and everything off of it. We looked at the head gaskets, and we don't know. The motor was put in there in 2019 in that truck. So that's the frustrating part. It was a rebuilt long block that was in that truck, and it had problems. The motor that is in that truck now is a 1986 F-150 motor out of a truck that Looked like nobody ever changed the oil on it. It was full of sludge, full of carbon. It was a disaster. I was so mad when I got that motor because I spent $400 on that motor, and we basically had to take it all back apart after I got it in the truck because it lost oil pressure and it started knocking. Uh, it was bad. It was supposed to be a good running engine, and like I said, and then we went through the whole ordeal of the water pump being the wrong kind of water pump. I needed to switch it over to a serpentine belt because in '86 they had V belts still. They had what they called I want to call it say batch fire, so it fires one bank of cylinders, fires the other. That truck has a sequential fuel injection, which everything else has now, or uh, each injector fires like a normal new engine does. It doesn't fire in batches, like almost think like carbureted stuff, because that just dumps fuel in and then it takes it when it needs it. That's how batch fire worked. It would just dump fuel in all at once, and then when it needed it, it would burn the fuel because it opened the valve and let the fuel in. Anyway, that's what that engine was wired for. Well, there was a thing on. Like I said, I learned all the stuff about 302 Fords, but not in the way I wanted to learn. And that's a 5 liter or 302, in case you're wondering. That's also why that motor would be a good transplant for this little guy, because they make kits that you can shove that motor right into that truck. Which it might happen. I don't know. I'm not that ambitious about putting a V8 in one of these trucks. It's always been a thing I've wanted to do, but if I do it, I kind of want to do like a sleeper. And mainly, I don't know, mainly because I got like an affection to this truck, and it wouldn't really be a Little Bohemian if I put a V8 in it. To me, just like, well, it's not really little anymore. Now it's got power, because now it only makes like 86 horse, I think, something like that. It's all 2.3 carbureted motor makes. For some of you thinking they make more than that, they don't. They're actually pretty low horsepower. Maybe when it was new, it probably made 90 something, but this isn't that anymore, and it's just it's not that powerful. Like I said, it struggles doing 70. It's got a 5-speed in it. That doesn't help, but for as far as getting up the speed, first through third, it goes pretty well, but then after that, it kind of struggles. So anyway, wrapping this video up, I guess. The other thing I was going to talk about, well, I said my car got hailed on that one year. I kept the original hood for my car just because I thought it'd be neat. I actually want to hang it on that wall at some point. I don't know if that's a good idea. I've been having problems with barn swallows getting in here. And there's a good spot for them to want to build a nest up here. And if I put it up on that wall, I have a feeling that's what's going to happen. So it's just kind of just been chilling there. I've had people wanting to buy it from me. It's an aluminum hood, and it got dented up from hail. And to buy a hood for one of these Challengers, they're not cheap. They're expensive, actually. They're like a used one's probably $900. This one's got dents in it. It's not wrecked or anything. You can see we're kind of peeling off the vinyl racing stripes. It's right there. Sorry, kind of looking through the viewfinder as I'm doing that. You can see we're peeling off the vinyl stripes, trying to figure out what to do when the hail happened on the car, which we ended up just taking all the stripes off, or my boss did, and our body shop guy did, I should say, and ended up painting the stripes on. And then, of course, we upgraded to the shaker hood. I got some wildlife running around in my yard. Got some rabbits. And ended up putting the shaker hood on there. Reason I painted the hood blue, or painted the shaker blue, is because it matches the shifter knob inside the car. And I wanted to break up. It was too much black. And I didn't want to do silver because it would look, to me, it would look out of place in the car. Wanted it to pop. I didn't want it to blend in. A lot of people want them to blend in, hence why everybody does black wheels, not black wheels. I do the opposite. I'm kind of the trend breaker, I guess you would say. Well, anyway, I'm going to wrap the video up now, I guess, you guys, and I don't know, just lots of little things talking about today, and maybe next time we'll talk about something more specific. When I do get the parts for that Murray, I might post a video on it. The only problem with me posting videos, and actually I should show you guys this quick before I end the video here. I was going to show you the cylinder head off that motor. We got a bit of a tangent, so let me show the cylinder head off that Murray motor, coming full circle back to the beginning of the video. Here's the cylinder head off that engine. It's carboned up and stuff, but original Briggs and Stratton valves in the engine still, as you can, it has the little logos in it. I don't know if you can see it, but they're right in the middle there. The reason it's all oily in there is because I actually put a plug in the spark plug hole. Somebody at one point had put a spark plug repair thing in there, and I went to pull the spark plug out, and this came out with it. And I said, great, that's not good. So I tried to put it back in there, and immediately tried to cross thread. So I had to get the thing back out of there. I ended up buying a kit, a spark plug tap kit, which I'll show you guys what it looks like. It's not. You basically get a tap, and then you get all these little threaded inserts, and then you tap out the you'll drill out the hole to the right size. Then you'll just like you do with the regular tap. It's not rocket science. This one had already been tapped out, so I threaded the insert back into it. I actually put Loctite on it. I don't know if you're supposed to do that, but I didn't want it coming out again. And then I actually peened the back side of it. If you guys can see, yeah, I peened the outside of it, so hopefully it doesn't move. I don't know if it's going to work or not. I had a spark plug in there, and I was running in and out. And I was actually looking at this, if I can find it. Oh, yeah, that's the one off the Husqvarna. Here, I'll show you what the Husqvarna one looked like. I don't know how this, find a camera here. Here we go. This is the spark plug out of that Husqvarna mower. Somebody, if you could see, if I ever zoom in, it's missing the porcelain around the electrode there. That's not good. It was still running like this. And this is, and I haven't touched a spark plug. This is when that bolt was rattling around on the inside of the engine. It actually got hung up underneath the exhaust valve, which is why it stopped running. I think that's also why I bent the push rod too, but I straightened the push rod, put it back together. It ran for another 20 minutes, and I just about got done mowing with it, and she conked out, and then I had to go finish it with the snapper rider. Anyway, this spark plug was in that mower, and it actually did not bend the strap on it. I don't know how it didn't. Anyway, the spark plug out of the Murray mower, which is this guy here, see, kind of oily and a little carboned up. The electrode was touching the strap, or the strap was touching the electrode rather, and I don't know what happened to it. I guess I don't know why that happened. So, like you said, nothing looks like it was touching, so I don't know what is going on there. So I got another spark plug for it. I'm waiting on the head gasket. That's, I think, coming Tuesday or Wednesday, something like that. I don't remember when it's showing up. But when that shows up, I'll probably show a video of me putting it back together, and fingers crossed something happens. I don't have high hopes for this engine, I'm going to be honest, because like I said, it didn't run when I got it, and I finally got it to run, but it didn't run good. Now I'm kind of just trying it to see. I'm not going to be out a whole lot of money if I do this, I figured. So I was just like, oh my, for the amount of money the engine is to replace, I figure worst case scenario, if I can get the motor to run and the mower's junk, I can at least save the motor. I have a feeling that motor's going to be okay though, because the motor's actually in pretty good shape. I stole the seat off of it and I shoved it on my snapper rider mower. So it had one of these generic yellow seats on it, which I don't know why they got yellow. Not a John Deere. I could put that seat on my John Deere rider though. Anyway, assuming I get that one back and it runs, that one's currently at the small engine shop. We'll see if he can fix it. I ended up having to buy a carburetor, a new carburetor, a Kohler new carburetor, or whatever, Kohler specific carburetor, which I don't know what brand it is or anything like that. And I just realized, I left my Mountain Dew in here. I haven't drank it. Getting warm. So anyway, kind of come back full circle. Like I said, I'll probably post a follow-up video about me putting that engine back together. We'll give you a trial by fire, I guess. Like I said, I am not a small engine guy. I will be sticking this back together and crossing my fingers and hoping it just works. I don't know if it's going to. I don't have high hopes for it. But, again, I didn't think that Husqvarna was ever going to run again, which is why I bought that John Deere rider, which, of course, turned into a snowball effect. And now we got two mowers down, two mowers that don't work versus one. And then while I was waiting for that John Deere to get fixed, I was actually able to fix that Husqvarna. Not being a small engine guy, I was surprised I was able to get it to run, which I was actually surprisingly easy to fix, which kind of gave me a kicking the pants, if you will, to give this mower a try. I don't like the deck setup on this Murray mower. It's one of those ones they tell you to park it on level concrete and adjust the gauge wheels and stuff and level it that way. So it means the deck always rides on the ground, and I don't like that because my yard is rougher than crap, and it's just gonna beat that mower up. And I'm not a fan of the way that's set up. That's made for like an in-town, nice groomed yard. Uh, that's kind of the one thing I don't like about that mower. That mower did come with a bagger, which I don't think I'm ever going to use. I don't. There's no reason for me to bag my yard because 90% of it's weeds anyway. The front yard is actually the best part of the whole thing. Mountain Dew. Here we go. But anyway, eventually I get to the point where I can actually do something with that mower. I said I don't know what the future has in store for that mower, to be honest with you. If I get it running or something and I like it, maybe I'll keep it, or I'll probably end up selling it just because I don't need. Well, if I get the other one back and it runs, I'll have four riding lawnmowers, and if the John Deere ends up not working out, I might end up putting that on Facebook Marketplace and selling it again. Kind of sucks because that's a pretty darn good mower. It would be because it has hydraulics on it, and I would really like to make this this trail mower I made. It's a custom built trail mower made out of a Cub Cadet riding mower deck. I don't have any Cub Cadet stuff. I like Cub Cadet stuff, but I've never owned a Cub Cadet mower. I ended up with two decks. Ended up making this homemade trail mower because, well, you saw the walk around here in either this video or the previous video. Walk around here of how much I have to mow. There's a lot of tight spots, so I can't get a lot of big stuff into it.